There was a forest at the edge of the village that no one dared to enter after sunset. It was called the Whispering Pines. The villagers whispered tales of spirits and shadows that lingered between the towering trees, stories passed down from elders who claimed the forest had once been a graveyard, long forgotten, swallowed by nature. One cold autumn evening, a young woman named Alara, curious and skeptical of the legends, decided to explore the forest herself. She was tired of the superstition that seemed to imprison the village, and her rational mind dismissed the rumors as nothing more than fear-fueled folklore. With only a lantern and a small knife for protection, she ventured into the forest just as the sun dipped below the horizon. The moment she crossed into the tree line, the air felt different, thick, heavy with an unsettling silence. The wind barely moved the leaves, yet Alara heard faint whispers, like voices carried on the wind, though no one was near. Determined to press on, she followed a narrow path that twisted through the ancient pines. The deeper she went, the darker it became, until her lantern was the only source of light, casting eerie, flickering shadows around her. Her heart began to race as the whispers grew louder, forming words she couldn't quite understand. Suddenly, Alara felt a cold hand brush her arm. She turned, but no one was there. The trees around her seemed to close in, their bark twisted into the shapes of contorted faces, mouths open in silent screams. Panic surged through her as the voices became more distinct, pleading, crying for help. The ground beneath her feet seemed to pulse, as if something beneath the soil was alive, restless. She stumbled forward, determined to reach the heart of the forest, where she believed the truth lay. At the center of the Whispering Pines, she found an ancient, crumbling stone monument, overgrown with moss and vines. It was a grave marker, but the name was long worn away, eroded by time. The whispers stopped. The silence was absolute, suffocating. Alara felt eyes on her, unseen but watching. She knelt by the monument, her hand brushing away the dirt and leaves, revealing the inscription. "Here lies the soul of the forest. Disturb not the dead, lest they walk among the living." A cold breeze swept through the clearing, and suddenly, she felt the ground tremble. From the soil around her, skeletal hands began to claw their way to the surface. The air filled with a bone-chilling wail as the spirits, once bound by the monument, rose from the graves, furious at being awakened. Alara turned and ran, the lantern swinging wildly in her hand as she fought her way through the trees. The whispers had turned into anguished screams now, echoing all around her. Shadows stretched and lunged from the dark, trying to pull her back. She could feel their icy touch on her skin, but she pushed forward, heart pounding in her chest. She didn't stop until she burst from the tree line, collapsing onto the dirt road outside the village. Gasping for breath, she looked back at the forest. The trees stood still, silent once more, as if nothing had happened. But Alara knew better. The forest had let her go, for now. The next morning, when villagers asked where she had been, Alara only shook her head, refusing to speak of the night she spent in the Whispering Pines. But the fear in her eyes was enough. She had seen the truth, and the village knew now, more than ever, to stay far from the haunted forest, where the dead still walked, and the pines still whispered their warnings.